Good morning, everyone, from Barcelona here in Spain. My name's Chris McCarthy, and welcome to the first qualifying session of the weekend for International GT Open and GT Open Cup. 10 degrees. It's going to be a lovely day here in Spain, and it's going to be a very close one on track as well. We have yet to decide our champion in International GT Open, and things could not be any closer in the championship. On drop scores, our top two in the pro class tied 4 points, and then we've got third place just 13 points back in chase. We've got some new cars on the grid as well. We'll talk about those in just a second. You may have seen a glimpse of the Honda NSX Evo, which is making its first appearance in the championship. But we also have a very close battle in the Pro-Am class as well. Just 3 points between the top two, with the McLaren in chase. Oh dear, Alberto De Martin has had a little bit of a spin there, and this is going to be like trying to get out of a tight space in a car park, isn't it? He's going to have to try and get that one round. That is a car that is returning. We've got some returning cars this weekend, that being one of them. So here's what happened to Alberto De Martin, and round she goes. And sort of the Honda NSX got quite stuck there, didn't know where to go, but did a good job actually to avoid any contact in the end. And Alberto De Martin will hopefully have been able to get his way out of that situation by the time we pick him up again. So here's the Honda NSX GT3 Evo, the first time we are seeing it in the championship. Beautiful car, I have to say. Had to went down and had a look at that one yesterday. Spoke to Reece Barr, who's going to be in that car this weekend alongside teammate who's currently out on track, Jens Renault Moller. And it's the first time we've actually seen it in the championship, so get to see what it can do this weekend. Here is the Optimum Motorsport number 72 making its way out onto the circuit. And Nick Moss is going to be in the car this morning. Joe Osborne will qualify tomorrow. There's Manuel Cerqueda, one of the GT Open Cup runners, as he makes his way into the first corner. So we've got a very close battle for the championship. Our top two, Enrique Chavez, Miguel Ramos, tied on points with Louis Pret and Vincent Abril. How the championship system works, you drop your lowest race score at the end of the season. That's the Trans Am Euro car, by the way, that is back. Went and spoke to Albert Astregas yesterday. He absolutely loves driving that car. This is only his second year in car racing. Did the Spanish Championship last year, saw that car, thought I want to have a go in that, and he's got into that car now. No ABS, no traction control. It is a real stripped-back car, only 4 gears as well. It is like driving a big go-kart, basically. It's got no assistance in the car, completely different to all the other things. He said it's almost like driving a NASCAR, basically. So it's quite tricky to get that thing round Barcelona. He's given himself a little bit of a tricky task there, but looking forward to seeing how he gets on. Boutsen Guignon is another new team. That's the golden Lambo that you might have seen. Claude Yves Gosselin and Mark Rostan in that car. Very excited for this weekend. Always love coming to this track. Renault Racing are the guys in the Honda NSX, Jens Renault Muller and Reece Barr. And then we've got ACA ASP back as well. They love to come and have a play here. Mauro Ricci and Jerome Policand in the Mercedes AMG, and they were very quick yesterday. In fact, they were third quickest overall. So we had 3 free practice sessions yesterday. Quickest were Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood. Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez were second. Mauro Ricci and Jerome Policam were third. Stefan Ortelli and Angelo Negro were fourth. Pret and Abril were fifth. Koprinski and Klein were in sixth place. Then it was Hahn and Coder, Rensmuller and Barr, Erive and Milroy, and then Moss and Osborne next along. Crestani and Mettler outside of the top 10. So across the line, Stefan Ortelli coming down towards turn number 1. Watched him out on track. Got to go around the circuit yesterday. Thanks to Stefan for that, and have a little look at the cars going around different sections of the circuit. And got to say, the Ferrari looked really planted around here, particularly through this section in comparison to some of the other cars. This is the best sounding car though. Great to see a Lamborghini Huracan in the championship. A winning car in this series, and that golden Lambo likes to come and have a play. And great to see it back in the season finale once again. Vincent Abriel goes quickest. Very confident coming into this weekend was Vincent Abriel. Thinks the car is going to be quick round here. Says, you know, going down the straights might struggle to get some overtaking done, but overall it's down to qualifying, as he said to me. And with the guys for the championship, Abriel, Pret, Chavez, Ramos tied on points, and they're going to have the same handicap for the first race as well. Handicap meaning they'll spend the exact same amount of time in the pits. This is a head-to-head between these two teams, between that Ferrari and the McLaren. It is a straight head-to-head fight going in to the first race. Qualifying this morning is going to be crucial. When I spoke to Chavez and Ramos yesterday, spoke to Miguel, and he did not feel that confident yesterday, did Miguel Ramos. He's going to be out in this first session. Seemed like they were not quite where they wanted to be, but particularly Miguel anyway, didn't feel like he was where he wanted to be in terms of pace. And let's see. This qualifying session is going to be interesting. It's Miguel Ramos versus Abriel in terms of our two title contenders. There is Aldo Vistante, happy as ever coming in to this weekend. Absolutely loving his racing this season. Great to see him doing so well. 5 wins on the bounce. All he has to do is finish, and he will become GT Cup Open Europe champion. Here's Yannick Mettler making his way down the start-finish straight. Across the line he goes. They are getting so confident in that car now. Went and had a proper look at it yesterday, and it's surprising how empty it is. It's going to sound weird, but it looks big, but there's huge sections of that car where it's filled with air, essentially, particularly at the back as well. There's not a lot in the back of that car. And Yannick said to me, you know, a lot of people ask him, how do you drive that thing so quickly around the circuit? It's so heavy. Really, it's not actually as heavy as it looks. That's what I have to say. Was a little bit concerned about whether this track is going to suit them, but, you know, let's see. That's what he said to me, you know, let's see how we get on. They've surprised themselves on a couple of occasions. We look back to the Hungaroring, and that Lazarus team Bentley was one of the quickest cars. That was the first day they kind of turned up with that car and took it round, basically. A car developed by M Sport, so a rally team developing that car. They've taken it on, have the Lazarus team, and it was hugely quick round the Hungaroring. And I think most viewers would agree with me that the Hungaroring has similarities to this circuit. Tight sections with flowing corners, you know, stop-starts, chicanes. So I think they've got a decent chance this weekend. Over the last 2 rounds, they are actually the most consistent team in the championship. They have taken a first, second and a third in the last 2 rounds. So in the last 2 rounds, they're the highest point-scoring team. And that's really where they've been focusing on. They never, ever expected to take a win at Monza. But Yannick says, you know, every round that they've come to, they felt more motivated, particularly to Monza, because they had to miss Red Bull Ring. And that played a huge part in them going to win. And I've got to say, the best sounding car on the grid. It is a beast, as I'm sure you can hear now. Let's have a listen to it come through this section. You can hear when it gets on the throttle. There's Manuel Cerqueda. Let's see if he and Daniel Diaz-Varela can repeat that victory that they got back at Paul Ricard, trying to take the fight to Aldo Vistante. Christian Clean has just gone for his outlap. Miguel Ramos likewise, and Mauro Ricci as well. Christian Clean went and spoke to him and Patrick Kaprinski yesterday. Huge credit to Kaprinski for doing as well as he has done. For Patrick to, in his 2nd year of racing ever, to be in a fight for the championship is a great thing. He raced a Renault Clio last year in the Clio Cup Championship, and so he's gone from a front-wheel drive to a rear-wheel drive, completely different car. Here's Manuel Cerqueda, though, coming through the final corner. We haven't really set any times yet, so apologies, I'm not really going through the times. Reason being that we haven't really started to get to where we are. Yesterday, we did a 1:45. Then, you know, we've got good times in from Abriel and from Milroy. But other than that, I think the guys are really just starting to warm themselves up. So here's Miguel Ramos. Let's run through the times anyway. It is Abriel leading on a 1:43.2, 1:43.7 for Ollie Milroy. Nick Moss is on a 1:44.6, Yannick on a 1:44.6 as well, then Stefan Ortelli on a 44.7. Here's Miguel Ramos then, as I said, wasn't feeling too confident yesterday. Here's the Acura ASP car, the one to watch in my opinion this weekend. Given the experience in that car, we've got Jerome Policand in there, very experienced Le Mans racer, team owner as well. Likes to come and have a play in GT Open. But here's Miguel Ramos now coming in towards the first corner, the number 59. A little bit too much curb there, and you can see where cars have been taking a lot of curb through that first corner. As he comes through now, the long sweeping right-hander at turn number 3. It's the McLaren versus the Ferrari in the Pro. Who's going to come out on top? We'll find out over the course of the weekend. And in Pro-Am, it's McLaren versus Mercedes, and Christian Klein feels that their Mercedes is going to be really suited to this circuit. They're confident coming into this. Here comes Ollie Milroy down the straight, second for him, 1:43.7. Half a second back from Vincent Abriel, who's currently in pit lane. I can see the Aston Martin is now out on circuit. Charlie Eastwood and Sally Ulick didn't go out in the final session yesterday, felt that they had done enough work in the first two. And they were the quickest overall in practice. So Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood really need to get a couple of wins to stand any chance this weekend. In terms of the points, they're going to need some bad luck to go the way of Abriel and to Ramos as well. They've just had things go against them in the last 2 rounds, but it's never over until it's over. We've seen dramatic GT Open finales over the years. We could see another this weekend as Miguel Ramos now comes out of the final corner and onto the start-finish straight. Out of Estante goes up tonight. Here goes up to second in class 9th. And Miguel Ramos goes to third, 1:44.380. We're approaching half time now in the session. And I think a good time to bring in Elliott Wood as we watch Christian Klein now make his way down towards the chicane. He about to set his first real flyer of the session.
Yeah, we have 10 different marks on track this weekend, which is very impressive. I think that might be the highest ever in International GT Open. Obviously, we do have the GT Cup Open Europe cars helping that tally with the Audi, but it's still impressive nonetheless. Christian Klein in his first flying lap puts him straight into second place. Only 3/10 off pole position, which is currently set by Vincent Abriel, who is now in the pits. And here comes Charlie Eastwood, another yet to set a lap. He looks a little dicey on the brakes there going into the final chicane, but this should be a quick lap too.
Eastwood out of the final corner, makes his way now down the start-finish straight. Across the line, and he goes quickest, 1:33.014. So Charlie Eastwood to the top of the times. They could do with a pole position this morning, and they could do with a win in race number 1 as well. Vincent Abriel still in the pits. He's second. Christian Klein in third. Ollie Milroy 4th. Miguel Ramos 5th. But the Aston Martin it is that leads the way. Second, the Ferrari. And then in third place, Mercedes. McLaren in 4th place.
That Aston is leaning very heavily when it brakes, going in on the front. I'm wondering if that's, how they're changing the weight distribution, but it does look a bit kind of aggressive every time it hits the brakes.
It looks aggressive, but it's going to be, as I said in Spa, an even more aggressive approach from them. They've kind of got nothing to lose, really, and it comes to the championship. Let's ride on board then with Eastwood. We make our way uphill through the fast right-hander as we've got coming down the start-finish straight. This is the ASP car. Here's Christian Klein out of the final corner now. Let's see what he can do on this lap. He's not improving on this lap, but third place for him currently as he makes his way across the line at 1:43.759. He's raced there in all sorts, F1 included. Here comes Charlie Eastwood now, improving on this lap into the chicane. This looks a lot better now through the chicane on that lap. That looked like a smoother run, a little bit loose on the exit. Let's see if it's cost him any time as he makes his way up towards the start-finish straight. He can only beat himself and across the line, and he does. 1:42.799, a further improvement from Eastwood.
I think the curb at that final corner, they almost tried to pull him off track once he put one wheel over it. And certainly, possibly it's just the stopping power of these brakes, whatever brakes they're using right now, are very strong because the car's immediately slowing down, like very noticeably when he hits them. And you don't tend to see that, so potentially they're actually bedding in a set now. Rather having bedded them in practice. Did you get to speak to Eastwood yesterday?
No, I didn't speak to those guys. They kind of were packing up early. They were done after session 2, but I will go and speak to them definitely before the race. But it was interesting speaking about car movement, speaking to Ramos, and he was saying that car he finds quite difficult to drive around this circuit because. You don't get the usual lean through the corner. He said, you know, he's driven all sorts around this circuit. You know, he's driven like a Mercedes, for example. I think even Ferrari as well. But he said that car, you're kind of fighting with it through the corners. It's hard to get that natural lead into the corner. So he was finding it quite hard to get a setup nailed for this circuit. Got to be really aggressive on the steering. Let's see if he can change it around. I mean, he looks okay at the moment, 5th, but that was one thing he was struggling with. Just it felt a little bit loose, almost like driving a go-kart, for example. You know, where you've got to put a lot of steering power through. You're constantly correcting the car. He couldn't find a natural flow with the car tilting through the corner. It was more kind of loose through corners and constant oversteer. Particularly through this final section, actually. This is where I'd say any drivers struggling with a car are going to find it the most difficult. This is a really tricky section for the car. Patrick Koprinski, not a fan of this final section at all, by the way. He did not like it. I don't think he's a big fan of this circuit.
I think because of how many titles aside as this circuit has held as well, a lot of drivers don't have the best memories of racing here because things have come down to the final lap or the final stint and they, you know, haven't quite gone to plan.
It's one of 2 tracks we visited in all 14 seasons so far, and it's held 12 season finales. So it's a commonplace. We didn't, obviously the season finale last year was at Monza, not here, but we're back here once again for the season finale. Right, here comes Miguel Ramos. He has had successes over the years here at Miguel Ramos. He won here back in 2015 when he took the title as well. As he comes across the line, struggling in this session though. 1.3 off pole position. He will not be happy with that. He's just under a second off Abriel, but how about this from the Aston Martin? Almost half a second quicker, but Abriel is now back on track. So he's got a target to chase now. He's got to find just under half a second. So Eastwood leaves from Abriel, clean, Milroy. So 2 of the Pro-Am cars right together. The red highlighted numbers are your pro drivers, your blue highlighted numbers are the Pro-Ams, and then the green backgrounds are the AM, the yellows are GT Cup Open Europe. That's the reference for you down the left-hand side of the screen. Abriel going quickest through the second section. You might have just seen under his name, purple lighting up there through the second split as he now comes through the long right-hander at turn number 12. Abriel through the final section now. Very happy with how things were going yesterday and not surprised it's being demonstrated here today as he now comes out of the final chicane and makes his way onto the start-finish straight. Vincent Abriel now down the start-finish straight. Let's see what he can do. Can he beat Eastwood on his first real flyer? He can half that gap. It's a 1:42.50. Oh, in fact, he goes quicker, sorry. He goes quicker by 3/10. So good stuff there from Abriel, 1:42.505. And he goes to the top, so 6/10 found in that run. Wow, brilliant stuff from Vincent Abriel to go quickest in the session.
And Vincent Abril last weekend, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. He was in a Mercedes.
Yeah, Spa 24 Hours, finished 7th overall on the lead lap. Incredible final lap to that race. Hopefully we can kind of replicate that action here this weekend. And obviously Abel's in a different car, but you know, he's driven this car all season, so it shouldn't be too much of a challenge jumping between the two.
I mean, he didn't have any problems going from Ferrari to Mercedes last weekend, so I think some drivers might enjoy that challenge of switching over. He's slowing down on this lap. Now, in terms of your championship fight, that is your championship leader in screen, Abril and Pret. Pret will be in for qualifying tomorrow. Second in the championship is 5th, Ramos and Chavez. Now in Pro-Am, the battle is just as close, only 2 points more difference between the two leaders. Clean in 3rd place, he and Kaprinski are in 2nd in chase, 3 points back off the drop scores from Hahn, who is currently down in 10th place. Marcelo Hahn is going to have Alam Coder in with him for this weekend. And I can tell you, when Alam Coder has been in that car, he's not done too badly at all. So Alam Coder, the services of him are going to be welcomed. 3 seconds and a first when Alam Coder has been. First 2 of those being at the Hungaroring, and then he was back at Monza to take the first class win, take his first class win of the season. Marcelo Hahn has had a further one of those at the Red Bull Ring, so 2 for him. 3 for Clean and Kaprinski. Neither of those winning at Spa, though. That was Ahmed Al-Hati and Tom Canning, and the second of those going to Nick Moss and Joe Osborne.
And we're currently watching our GT Cup Open Europe pole sitter Aldo Festante, 1 minute 56.21. His closest rival Manuel Cicada, well, now it's Manuel Cicada because Albert Stregas has just had his best lap deleted for track limits at turn 15.
Right, just out of that corner, you would have seen Aldo Festante running wide. Now, I actually sat in the driver's briefing yesterday for the first time, and they have sensors out of, well, I'll wait till we get to that point again, but coming out of the chicane, they have, they've set up a software where if someone runs over the white line, 4 wheels over the white line, a picture is immediately taken, and that's the lap time deleted. And if you want to argue it, well, then there's a picture of it. So the team managers were actually shown that. So I'm going to show you now. Here comes the Honda through the chicane. You'll see coming out of here, that white line, if you run 4 wheels over, lap time is deleted.
Yeah, and they take a front and a rear picture. As Abril, that is a risky overtake past the Trans Am Euro car. He is,
well, Stefan Ortelli will not be happy with that at all. Not only does your lap time get deleted, by the way, I believe the next one does as well. Now, Stefan Ortelli, he's not going to be pleased with that. That wasn't good driving, I'm afraid to say. Did not get out of the way, did Albert Stregas.
And because of how short the run is to that corner as you come out the previous corner, you don't really have much time to react to that. So he did a good job of making a decision, diving down the inside, and then flashing his lights down the pit straight afterwards.
Well, here's another look. I mean, I can see what Albert Stregas is trying to do. He's trying to stay left, anticipating that Ortelli's going to go right. But Ortelli just caught him far too quick. So he anticipated that Ortelli was going to go to the outside of him and then take the normal racing line. Just, I'd say it wasn't blocking. It was just a kind of mix-up there of scenarios between the two. Both read that completely differently. Here comes our provisional pole sitter into pit lane. Abril in the Ferrari. Eastwood in the Aston Martin also in pit lane. Clean and Milroy are back out on circuit. Ramos is in pits as well. So out on track, we've got Clean, Milroy, Metler, Ortelli. What do you think of this? The golden Lambo. Nice to have it back.
Love to see a Lambo back in GT Open. One of the best and loudest GT cars you can have at a track. I think if you close your eyes, you can tell when the Lambo is going past.
Yes. Yeah, you got to cover your ears, basically.
And probably your eyes as well with this gold livery. It's probably going to reflect a lot of light.
I've got to say, it was great to go and, great to see the car going round yesterday. The Boots Enginion team, the Belgian squad, raced GT and touring cars over the years, and Claude and Mark, they've got a lot of experience between them. Claude 58 now, Mark 56, and they looked like they were having good fun yesterday. When I went and spoke to them, they were really enjoying it. Mark, it's going to be his debut in GT Open. Claude has raced in GT Open before. Took 2 third places on his last appearance here, which was last year. So he's back for another play. Of course, Claude finished second in the 24-hour Le Mans.
And Manuel Cicada has just had his best lap time deleted. He's about to be overtaken by, I think that is Stefan Ortelli again. Ortelli's currently down in 7th now.
He's struggling with traffic, isn't he?
Yeah, his last 2 laps have both been, well, it was personal best last time out, but they've both been lost to traffic there. Christian Klein in 3rd. Yannick Mettler was improving on the previous lap, hasn't really improved on this lap, and he's currently in the 2nd sector. He is the 4th, well, he's 3rd of the pro drivers, or the pro entries on the grid right now. He's got 2 Pro-Am cars ahead of him. And as we've seen many times this season, the class battles are among themselves. And even when there's teams competing in both classes, you know, there's not normally cooperation, we can say.
Stefan Ortelli, just 4 minutes to go. I think he's tried to come out at a time where the track is going to be a little bit more quiet, but he's just been a bit unfortunate. Hopefully he hasn't taken too much life out of those tyres and can go for 1 or 2 more laps here. Got to be careful of track limits out of the chicane though. Top 2 have some distance over the rest of the field so far, don't they? Eastwood's back out on track though, so we'll keep an eye on him. Here's Christian Klein. He's lost the lead in the Pro-Am class in terms of qualifying, but he takes it back now, 1:43.135. Here comes Eastwood up to the line. Let's see what he can do. He's not improving on this lap. He's going to go for a flyer now, so he's going on to what is his first flying lap since coming out of pit lane. No one lighting up the timing screens just yet.
Well, we have got 1 driver lighting up the timing screen, but not for the right reason.
Astragas.
Yeah, car number 126. Yeah, driver and team manager to report to the stewards.
Well, I think we can see what that was for. Here's Eastwood coming through the 1st sector and almost level with his personal best. Here he comes now down into the downhill left-hand hairpin. Eastwood needs to find just under 0.3 of a second. Abriel isn't going to be going any further in this session. He's decided to call it a day. Unless he comes out of the pits now, he will not have time to go and do another lap. Eastwood's going to get 2 more, I'd say, as he comes now out of the right-hander downhill towards turn 10. Downhill braking zone, very easy to make a mistake here. He's got traffic approaching. He's gone quicker through the 2nd sector. It's not the quickest of the session, but it is a personal best as he now comes into the long right-hander. It's at turn 12. Now the tricky part of the circuit. Through the tight right-hander, you've got to get it back across to the right-hand side of the circuit. Now for the tight chicane. Be careful of track limits on the exit, and then through the very fast right-hander, and he was within track limits there, out of the final corner now. He did a personal best through the 2nd sector. Is it going to be enough, though, to take pole position? Yes, it is. 1:42.423 for Eastwood, and that is good enough for a provisional pole position. And with Abriel not on circuit, I'd say that's good enough to be at the top at the end of the session. 1:42.423 for Charlie Eastwood, and he puts that car on pole position.
Yeah, and the next 2 fastest cars on track at the moment are Ollie Milroy and Yannick Mettler. Neither look like they can really match Eastwood. Eastwood actually had traffic through turn 10 and 11 there, one of the GT Cup Open Europe cars, so he navigated that pretty well to not lose too much time and end up 0.082 seconds up on Vincent Abriel, and probably the track is quicker now than it was when Abriel set his lap. So potentially, if they, you know, if he'd said it earlier with that kind of traffic, he wouldn't have been able to beat Abriel. As Klein actually exits the pits, he's on his out lap now.
Well, is he out? We get a good view from this commentary box, don't we? Is he out? We can see the whole last half of the track, but I can't see him.
He is definitely on track. He's done the 1st sector. So he'll be coming out of turn 5 soon, I expect.
He might just about squeeze 1 more lap in then. So he's going to go for 1 more, but I'd say he's going to have to find a lot of time to go pole. April is happy enough with a front row with Ramos down in 6th place. But for the 3rd time this season, it looks like it's going to be the Aston Martin on pole position with Eastwood and Sally Ulick. Brilliant lap from Charlie Eastwood. When you've got really only kind of 1 lap to do it, it's very tough. But that is the challenge that drivers like Charlie Eastwood love. And for the 3rd time this season, they look like they are going to be on pole position. The checkered flag is now flying, and that is going to be the session over. Most teams had already called it a day and were down in pit lane. I'd say Christian Klein just went out to maybe test something on the car before coming back into the pits. So qualifying done then here in Barcelona. The grid for the first race this afternoon is set. Here's Stefan Ortelli going round. He's done a 29.9 through the first sector as he makes his way now into the left-hander. So he's going for a lap. Oh dear, that's a little bit too wide as he now comes back uphill through turn 9. Stefan Ortelli feels like he's going to have one more. He's given it everything, isn't he? But I wouldn't be surprised after that little mistake if he comes into the pits at the end of this. But the grid for the first race of the weekend is set. It's the showdown in the championship. For the 13th time in International GT Open, our champion will be officially crowned here in Barcelona. After drop scores, your top 2 are dead level. Now, one thing I must say, though, is Miguel Ramos, as Stefan Ortelli is going to come through the final corner. Stay with him until the line before we talk any more about the championship, see if he goes any quicker as he goes up to the line. And he does improve and stays 7th, 144.533. That probably cost him from gaining any positions. Very easy to do, though, in that downhill left-hander, turn number 7. There's your pole sitters, though. Charlie Eastwood, great result from him. One thing I must say, though, is Ramos and Chavez, their current score that they drop is 4th. So if they finish lower than that, that then becomes their drop score. But we could talk about that all day. We'll keep an eye on that as the race goes on, but that's one thing I should just mention. Eastwood pole, April 2nd. He level with Ramos after drop scores. He in 2nd, Ramos 6th. Clean, your lead Pro-Am driver, trying to chase a title in the first ever season for the JP Motorsport team, which was set up in February. Milroy 4th, Mettler 5th, Ortelli 7th, Moss 8th, Jens Renault Moller in the first outing for the Honda NSX Evo 9th. Marcelo Hahn in the fight for the Pro-Am title with JP Motorsport's Christian Klein down in 10th, so not a good day for the McLarens and the Terra Martin Motorsport team. Mauro Ricci in 11th, Claude-Yves Gosselin, and then Vestante leading the way in GT Cup Open Europe from Cerqueda, Estragas, and De Martin. We'll hear from him soon, I'm sure. So here we go then. Having a look back at your pole sitter, it's going to be Charlie Eastwood, 142.423. He takes his 3rd pole position of the season. Let's go and hear from him now.
Charlie Eastwood, pole position here at Barcelona for race 1. You are, of course, the 3rd in contention in the title battle. Not the easiest role, but so far, so good.
Yeah, great start to the weekend. As you said, we've got a chance, an outside chance rather, of getting the championship, and we thought, yeah, it's best to try and do a good job on Saturday qualifying and a good result in the race, and then at least we're closer in the points, hopefully come the 2nd race, that anything then can happen. So yeah, perfect start to the weekend.
How you feel the car?
It was amazing. Yeah, the qualifying in GT Open, when the cars are as fast as they can go on the Michelin tyre and obviously in a cold track temp, we always seem to be going faster than we expected in qualifying. So yeah, the car was absolutely flawless. And yeah, some pressure with Abril going faster before we went in the last set of tyres, but we knew we had to deliver on the first lap of the tyre when you have the most grip. And yeah, we're able to do that, and now we're starting from home.
and we can foresee some interesting races this weekend.
Yeah, I think so. It's always going to be quite tight round here, so it'll always keep the whole pack quite compact, and everyone I think at the front has similar time penalties from the success of the last event. So yeah, it should be a good weekend.
Well done. All the best.
Thank you very much.
And well done to those guys. They are in chase in the title where anything can happen. Make sure you join us for the first race. We're going to be live from 2:30. That's when lights will go green here in Barcelona. Until then, it's goodbye.